I'm with the incomparable and incorrigible Mr. Stephen Mann of ServiceNow, and we are just chatting at the Pink Conference in Vegas, just about what's happening in the industry. Stephen, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Barclay.
Good to hear that. What do you? Because your role with ServiceNow is content, thought leadership, that sort of stuff, is it?
Yeah, it's content writing. To be honest, I normally describe it as being pretty similar to what I did in my previous job. I don't have the afternoons full of phone calls anymore, but just creating content, talking to people, doing the odd presentation. So it's not too dissimilar. Yeah.
Okay. So what are you finding at the moment? What are the sort of hot spots? What are people looking for that they weren't looking for before, or what's new in the sort of demand side on ITSM?
Sure. I mean, there's quite a spectrum. We still see customers who they probably just want a new tool. We can wax lyrical about that, but to me, there's a number of, probably to call them trends is wrong, but another number of areas that we have very good conversations with either existing customers or potential customers about. The first is service catalogue. Like to think that is very much on the back of consumerization, rather because ITIL talks about service catalogues and service catalogue management. So we see a lot of customers going down the service catalogue route, or should we be calling it the service request catalogue? We better not open up the can of worms. A lot of it, though, based on the fulfillment side of things, rather than just having that glossy storefront that doesn't have the necessary back end. So service catalogue and consumerization is a big thing that we see. Something that James Finnister will be pleased with, SIAM, so service integration. We're having a lot more conversations about that and the complexity from a supplier management and an IT service management point of view. And also the fact that customers or prospects may have previously tried to use an IT service management tool and not had all of the capabilities. So that's a third one. Another one is what we call service relationship management. You can exchange that for enterprise service management, the utilization of IT service management processes, the technology, and also the experience of the IT service management people in other business functions, whether it be HR, facilities, legal, etc. So we're seeing customers taking what they currently have for IT service management or IT management and applying it to other parts of the organization. And that continues to be a common thread. And it's not just something we see from the customer touch points either. That I don't think it was last week, it was the week before, that HTI are interested in me writing an article on it. So Beyond IT, it tends to be called. ITSM USA are doing a podcast with various vendors. ITSM Review, you're looking to do your report on Beyond IT as well, and I think it's something that we'll continue to see more of, and hopefully it's good for organisations, and it's also good for the IT organisation, because firstly you might look at it from a economies of scale point of view, you might look at it from a consistency point of view, not only from an operational perspective, but also from the end user or consumer point of view. And thirdly, if you're using a single tool or a smaller number of tools, hopefully you've got the financial savings from that as well. So they would probably be the main things. I mean, the only other thing, and apologies if this sounds a little bit too much like a plug, but using the ServiceNow application or platform, service automation platform, to facilitate what I was just talking about, creating business applications to sit alongside the ServiceNow applications, is another thing that the customers are continuing to embrace. And apologies, feel free to cut that if that is too much of a plug. But it's on
the floor already.
That's fine.
I suppose one question would just be around how, because the market is still incredibly saturated with vendors of different shapes and sizes, and even at the top end is still probably, if you're just looking at it, probably too many vendors. How does ServiceNow certainly started off with a kind of disruptive differentiator, but everybody does cloud or SaaS or whatever you want to call it now in different models and so on. What kind of differentiators do you need to have as a vendor these days to really make a difference?
Yeah, good question. I mean, in terms of the market being saturated, I mean, that's really up to organisations or the customers to decide whether it's saturated or not. Whilst other vendors, and ServiceNow included, have got customers, then they'll continue to survive. And we also see new vendors coming in, not necessarily on a weekly basis, but you see the new ones coming in. So there's still space for people. In terms of differentiators, yeah, most vendors have a SaaS solution now, but it's a bit like saying, all cars have wheels. They do, but you don't choose a car based on the fact that it has 4 or 3 tyres. So differentiators, one of the main ones sort of touches on the consumerization point that I mentioned earlier on, around the ease of use, whether that's the use by the end user or our customers, whether it's used by our customers themselves, or whether it's the use from an admin point of view as well. So ease of use is definitely a big part of it. I think it also helps from the ServiceNow point of view that in the main, our customers enjoy is probably too strong a word, but they appreciate that the software or the software as a service is different, and it's not your traditional enterprise software. So I think that's a differentiator, that our customers are willing to talk to prospects or people who we don't even know about, and it's difficult to see that going on elsewhere. So I think our customers really do help us from a differentiation point of view. In terms of the technology itself, I don't want to talk about the nuts and bolts, but I'm happy to talk about the applications we offer. It's not just the traditional IT service management ones. So the last release, last November, we introduced something called HR Service Automation to help HR organisations with automation for case management, and it's something that will continue to evolve both for HR and other business functions as well. So having that breadth such that we can offer IT the capability to support those other business functions is something that's part of the, let's call it the decision-making process for any prospect.
I suppose the point was, and you've made this yourself in the past, that that actually it's a lot of it is about selecting the vendor rather than the product. I mean, every vendor will argue the case there that they've got something different, but in terms of a partner and a supporting organisation rather than just software, often get it. I mean, is that something that people are still looking for? Do they still need help as well as tools?
Definitely. I mean, ServiceNow, it's a little different to some of the other larger vendors in that we don't do all of the professional services, and in many ways we know we have to do it, but there's a big ecosystem, a big partner ecosystem now around the globe, and they probably do, and I'm probably going to do the wrong stat here, but it's somewhere between, I think, 70 and 80% of professional services are done by partners.
Yeah.
So there's still always a lot of work to be done, outside of the technology, or making the technology more aligned to the needs of the customer. So I know it's a horrible phrase, people talk about out of the box, but so many customers still, while they might want out of the box capabilities, they still tend not to use a tool out of the box, and quite rightly, they need the tool to adapt to how they want or need to work. So that's definitely something that we still see a lot of, that professional services, as it's called, is part of the upfront deal, and also from an ongoing basis. From a ServiceNow point of view, service catalogue. We have something called content management system, and customers can create or turn the service catalogue into their own service catalogue in terms of the branding, the look and feel, and maybe even the culture in terms of simplicity or complexity. And also partners who are creating custom applications on the platform for customers. So, customers can do it, our partners can do it, or we can do it.